Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of This Life. I'm your host, Felix Mallorca. This is the second time I'm doing this intro because we're live in the Broadpoint Property Studios. And if you need any real estate or property management, let Broadpoint Properties help you out. Make sure you follow them on Instagram because I do their content and that would really help me out. It'll help me keep my job. And give me a follow at Mallorca Media. Thanks so much for listening. We are going to start.
Let's do it.
All right. Today I have a guest. I have a very special guest. I think I say that for everyone, but yeah,
I appreciate that.
Very special guest. Mr. Josh King.
How's it going?
Good, man. How are you? Are you nervous?
Good. No. No, not really. Kind of. I don't know. We'll find out, mate. When you go to the toilet or not.
So I start all of these. This is kind of peaking. Hold on. So I start all of these with. Is this my mic? Yes. I start all of these with some questions, and then we kind of dive into who you are, how we know each other, all that fun stuff. Mm-hmm. These are kind of rapid fire questions. If you want to talk a little bit more about it, then you can. But yeah.
You got me on a time cap because I love to talk about myself.
Well, that's why you're here, dude. Let's do it. Okay. Rapid fire. Here we go. Favorite movie?
Or probably Home Alone. That's 1 and 2, not the last 3 and 4.
Good. Imagine if you were like, oh, Home Alone 3. I would have been like, dog. The Russian spies or whatever. Yeah. Okay. Go-to comfort meal.
Or at the moment, me and the baby having chicken and rice. That's like a go-to at the moment. It's
chicken and rice.
Yeah, it's just easy.
It's boy kibble.
Yeah.
As they call it. Yeah. Current artist on repeat.
Pink Pony Club. It's always the one on the way to jiu-jitsu. That's kind of get pumped for it.
What is that?
You don't know that song?
Pink Pony Club?
Yeah.
What is that?
You're the only person I don't know. Never heard of the song Pink Pony Club?
How does it go? Sing it.
Pink Pony Club. Da, da, da,
Oh,
da,
yeah.
da, Pink Pony.
I had no idea that's what they said.
Yeah.
That's Chapel Run?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's not bad, dude.
I love it.
I'll be in the shower and I'm like, H-O-T, or the Hot to Go.
Oh, yeah. I like the meme with the Tony Soprano. Have you seen that one?
Where he's driving?
Yeah. And he's like, drop my kids off at school, every dad to that song.
That's true. Okay. What's something you can't start your day without?
At the minute, probably cold plunge and a coffee. They're the two things.
Who has influenced you?
The most recent person is a captain called Dave Pringle. He was someone that, even though I was off the chain in my life, he really gave me a third and a fourth chance and guided me and gave me some advice, which was valuable. And now I still remember that now. So
beautiful. Night owl or morning person?
Well, a bit of both. I think I stay up till about 11, and then I'm usually up at like 5:30, 6 o'clock. So it's just, the chef life.
Animal.
Yeah.
We'll get into all that. Yeah. I'm excited to hear some stories. What inspires you to be who you are?
I guess right now where I am in my life is my daughter. I think it's why I'm kind of living the way I am. You know, the better quality of me. So
beautiful.
Yeah.
What's a new skill you're currently learning?
Jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, man. In November I started that and I am addicted, which we'll probably go and you'll find out at the end of the podcast how addictive my personality is. Oh, sick. Yeah. So I've took that on and that's kind of, that's it.
That's a good addiction though, right?
Yeah.
I think unless you like mess up your neck before a podcast.
Yeah. I'm a bit stiff like this.
That's so funny. Let me see. What irks you?
Like ick?
Yeah.
Ick.
Like irk is like something that kind of pisses you off, like annoys you.
Oh, this is an American podcast. How soft Americans are with English banter.
What do you mean?
Like banter is like you just have like between friends or anybody, and like how English people just have this level. Like, I think the level is a lot higher, and Americans just don't have a tolerance for it, and so I feel like I'm always offending people. And I've tried to tone it right down. And it's sometimes that people are like, you know. So I just that.
Dude, that's,
sorry, Americans, but
I think it's true. Like I don't know. I don't know if it's like quick to be offended or like we're trying to feel the vibe. I think it's also like people's personality. Like if you don't have self-awareness and if you also don't know the person long enough, I think that's one thing about people who aren't American. Cause even Mexicans do this. Like they'll just start like shitting on you and you're oh, I don't really know you like that, bro. Like,
yeah.
But it happens enough where you go, oh, okay, we're chilling.
Yeah.
This is chill.
Yeah. It's a sign of friendship. Yeah. If you can I was going to say, can you swear?
Take the piss out.
Take the piss out of someone? Yeah.
That's so funny. What's your favorite thing to cook?
Oh, what's my favorite thing to cook? I really enjoy sourcing produce. Like when I travel around the world, like learning cultures, learning different techniques, and then sourcing the ingredients from whether it's butchers, fishmongers, farmers, and then just embracing that and telling a story, you know? So it's like not just one thing, because in the yachting industry, you have to like be able to kind of do everything, you know, from sushi to a burger to a salad to whatever, and just being passion, putting love into everything, whatever it is. That's kind of what I can't really be specific on one, but that's kind of...
So more like the process.
Yeah, the process is what...
Of learning.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. What's something you like about yourself?
Oh, that's a good one, actually. I think it's my integrity to whatever I'm doing. I put 100% into it. And I think that's kind of valuable in all of my life. Sometimes growing up and learning that's a good thing. Yeah. And putting it into good use rather than like bad use.
Bad addictions, good addictions. Are you a vacation person, or this is a good question for you actually? Are you a vacation person or a staycation person?
I'm a staycation because whenever I have holiday, I end up coming home. Yeah. I haven't had a holiday for, even though I traveled the world, I don't know, maybe like 8 years. I haven't actually took a holiday. Wow. Everywhere I've gone has always just been work. And I'm going to take her to Hawaii in September, October, and that's going to be my first one.
Dang.
Yeah, it's all paid for as well.
That's sick. I
know. So I'm stoked.
That's even better. Yeah. What do you do to treat yourself?
I eat out a lot. That's my ticket.
Just anywhere, or?
Yeah.
You get picky?
No, when I've got her, I'm a routine. So we'll do like sushi, the pizzas, like stuff like that. And we try and venture out, but she won't eat it. So it's just the expensive it is in California. It's not really worth it. But if I'll go and try new stuff, like there's a chefs that I like in San Diego, I'll go and try them. But generally, I'm routine. Like I'll go to the same places, order the same things, and just because I know I'm going to like it, I don't have to think about it. And that's kind of,
Nice. Last question, movies or TV?
Documentaries, TV.
Yeah. Dude, you know what I've been all about right now is like YouTube documentaries.
Okay.
Like, people will just get this ADHD of, I'm going to focus on this one thing and just learn about it. Like General Custer's Last Stand. I think I was watching that. I was like, oh, all right.
YouTube is the way forward at the moment, man. Dude. I'm addicted to it. It hits the ADHD in us, you know. It's just like next, 16 minutes, 15 minutes is like the perfect amount.
And then the shorts now that they have.
Oh, mate.
And it's just all like, what's it called? Brain rot?
Yeah.
You're like, dude. And then like Sopranos clips. Like you'll watch one and then the rest is just, and you're like, oh.
I was just in Arizona and my downtime was scrolling through Facebook Reels. And it was my hours on my phone. Like I was working like 18 hours a day. And I think I was spending about 2 hours a day on Facebook Reels.
But when you think about it, I mean, I know it's bad. I know the whole phone addiction is a real thing. I'm absolutely addicted to my phone. Yeah. But this is like our TV. Like we don't really watch, I mean, some people watch shows, but as like a society, we don't really watch TV that much anymore. And if it's background noise now for us.
Yeah.
I also heard that movies are being cut like that now. Like, I don't know if you saw Lilo and Stitch. That's the one I heard about.
Yeah, we went,
And they said it was really fast. Like everything was very like fast paced, fast cuts.
But it's kids nowadays. She watches the iPad way too much. YouTube. She watches like Russian and Chinese, and I'm like, what are you watching? It was like some random language, and she's like, oh, it's like this, and it's like some random Russian program. Like, it's cartoons, it's great, it's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's bad parenting.
There was a kid, the kid that was in here earlier. One of the realtors brought in his kid, and I go, what do you watch on YouTube? And he's like naming all these weird things, and then I'm like, oh, cool. And I walk out to set up for this, and he's watching some guy wrestle, like a wrestling dummy. And they're just like, all right. And like, that's all it's like. And he's like, oh, beep, beep, beep.
Yeah, same thing. Same thing.
What are you watching? And he looks at me and he goes, can you close the door, please?
Kids
like, cool, man.
Yeah.
So we touched a little bit on it, but you're a chef.
Yes, sir.
How long have you been a chef for?
I thought it was 15 years, but now I'm 33, so it's now coming up to 18 years.
How long did you know you wanted to do that?
So when I was like 13, 14, I got kicked out of school, and my mum just not forced me, but was like, you've got to do something, get a job. She was always trying to make me stay out of the way I grew up. Was quite it wasn't the best area. I didn't want to get involved in the wrong people. So I got a job at a cafe, a vegan cafe of all things, just washing dishes and just earning my own money. I fell in love with that first. And then, I was like, I like this kitchen stuff. It's like the kind of brotherhood, that kind of aspect of it. It's real, it's when you're young, and I didn't really have a dad around all the time. So having like older men, I kind of looked up to that, and they even though they got me into the bad stuff, it was also, majority of it was great.
Where'd you grow up?
In Newcastle. It's an hour south of Scotland.
Gotcha. Football.
The real football, mate. How are the tune?
So childhood-wise, was it hectic or stable?
It was. My mum was a great single parent. She had me super young. She had me like 21, 22, I think, maybe younger, 20. And so she was like growing her career at the same time. So she was working as hard as she could, paying bills and stuff. And then I was just, I seen that growing up, and that put that integrity, that work ethic, definitely instilled in me. So it's she did her best, man. I can't fault her whatsoever. So
how long did you work at that vegan place?
I think I was there for like a year, and then after that, my mom. I got to 16, I think. 16, yeah. And then my mum was like, "Oh, got to figure out like if I can remember how it went. I got to go and get qualifications, like a vocational whatever apprenticeship." So I looked at this course called a Specialized Chef's course, and they put me into a hotel, really good hotel with Terry Laybourne. He's a successful chef in the north of England, and ended up working there as just a commie, like it's just helping out, picking herbs. But I was like smoking weed at the time. I didn't want to work. It was like I was like just in the head chef, Pierre, he's a French guy, would like call me up like 100 times. Where are you? Come to work. I come pick you up. Like all this stuff. And he was actually like a mentor for a long time. I really looked up to him, and he put a lot of energy into me before I went to London when I was like 17.
Dang. So you were kind of an adult as a kid.
Yeah, but I think it's very an English thing. Like starting younger. If you're not in the education system, you definitely you have to grow up real quickly because you move somewhere or you go to an apprenticeship and you're around older people, so you're not kind of in America. People are at university, man, till they're like 23 sometimes, so it's different. It's just different, different vocation. So it's different career. But yeah, so then I went to London when I was 17, and that was like crazy. I was just like, as an apprentice, 4-year apprenticeship. I only did like 3 years. And it was 3 months at college, 9 months in a workplace. Worked at the place called the Royal Automobile Club. Okay. It's a private members club, but it's like a big operation.
It's like a country club?
Similar, but in the city, in the centre of London.
Got it.
And just worked like with some insane chefs, man. Like back then, like this was 2009 to 2011. And it was just like, we doing like up to 18 hours a day. Just like you get in for like 6:30, 6 o'clock, depending on how busy you are. Push out the prep, and just just grow. Really, I grew from a child to a man in the kitchen, and I went through some real tough times too. Took the wrong road a couple of times, but yeah, that's kind of like the basis of it. How I started.
I'm an ignorant American, and I'm also a San Diego bubble kid.
Yeah.
Newcastle, is that like a smaller area, or is it? What's the difference between that and like London? Is it more like countryside?
No, so well, you've got countryside. So it's on the coast. So it's right on the coast. It's got a big river that runs through it, the River Tyne, and it's not too big. It's quite small and relative of like when you go traveling around the world and see how big things actually are. But northern people, like that's what you call people from the north, and like Geordies, they're very nice people, very welcoming. Like their personalities are very kind of like friendly. It's kind of like an industrial city.
Okay.
And I see it like I compare it to like Chicago or Boston.
Gotcha.
Like that kind of like, blue collar workers. Unfortunately, the industry's changed a lot when they got sold out and whatnot, and people became, alcoholics or whatever. Not everybody. There wasn't a community was still there, but there wasn't a lot of opportunities. So it's changed a lot. But it's changed since I've left, it's changed again. It's gone really. Projected,
so it's better.
Culture, yeah, it's awesome now.
So
food scene.
Were you there when it was kind of rough?
Yeah, so my mum obviously was a single parent, so we grew up like in the rougher areas because that's what she could afford, and like places like that's one story where we were living in an upper bed apartment, and my mum I was in bed and my mum was on the sofa with my stepdad at the time, and she hears this like crashing, and we had a stairwell from the garden, and this is how like dodgy it was, that the guy underneath was so off his face, he was trying to rob our apartment, but my mum put all the gardening tools on the stairs, so that when the guy was it was like a Tom and Jerry scene. The guy was like stepping on rakes and like
trying to be all quiet.
And like my mum was like called the police and stuff, and they like arrested him and whatnot. But yeah, then we got out of there. But as I grew up, like from a super young age, as my mum's salary got more, we moved to a nice area, and then just before I moved to London, we lived in like quite a nice coastal town. Still wasn't like out of this world. It wasn't like La Jolla. Yeah. You know what I mean? It was more like Escondido on the seaside. Nice. I live in Escondido. I'm not saying it's a bad place.
Dude, Escondido's gotten a lot better. Yeah. It wasn't terrible before, but it was just kind of the people that lived here.
Yeah.
What was being in London like as a 17-year-old, you said?
Yeah, it was it's phenomenal, man. It's still like I miss it now because of the food scene and the culture of like the different cultures that are there. It's so varied. But just growing up there, like it was like a never land back then, because everything was open late and whatnot. And so like you do as a 17, 18-year-old, you do your service, and then you'd like finish at like 12, 1 o'clock in the morning, and then you'd go out with the guys and girls, whatever, into what's it called, Trafalgar Square or whatever, around that area, Charing Cross area, and like you find like little speakeasy dive bars or whatever that are open till 7 o'clock in the morning, or go to the jazz club in Carnaby Street, whatever it's called. And so it's kind of my eyes were open to all this like plethora of like, I was like, whoa. A
lot of culture.
Yeah, tons of it, tons of variation, which is cool.
And you hung out with obviously older people.
Yeah.
And they kind of led you down different paths, or
different. Like, do you know what it is? They were in different stage of their life, so like partying for them was not like a they were on and off, but I was young to it, so I was like, oh, this is cool. I'm gonna do whatever, drugs or whatever, and I ended up just like taking it too far real quickly.
Gotcha.
Which I figured out now, looking backwards at my personality. I get real quick into delving into something, and so it was. I had to pull away from that. I got help from college and the right people and stuff like that, and yeah. So
you ended up going to college?
Yeah, I was at college in my. It's there's the apprenticeship.
Oh,
yeah,
gotcha.
London. Yeah, it's college, but yeah.
Gotcha.
So I did my qualifications.
So you were already kind of working you were like an intern at a restaurant.
Basically, that's
Gotcha.
it. Yeah. And you get you over 4 years, you get your qualifications, and then I basically got into like speed and other drugs and needed help. So I had to get out of London because it was just too
much. Too much too soon.
Too much too soon. So then I moved to Cornwall when I was like 19 and 19, 20. And it was a different pace of life. It's the south of the UK.
Okay.
It's like a real surf villages, fisherman town, kind of country vibe, lots of farmers, stuff like that.
Did you hit a point when you were kind of in your addiction of, I need to stop this? Or did someone talk to you and tell you, hey man, you're kind of screwing up?
So when I was younger, I was able to realize it myself. When I got older and I was by myself a lot more, when you get older, I was like counterbalancing it with working out. And I was like, I'm okay. I don't need that, you know? Yeah. And then I couldn't, I was like lying to myself, you know? And like I would stay up until like my cut-off time would be like 2 a.m. Then I'd get up for CrossFit for 8, 10, overtrain. And then I'd be like, okay, I'm going to have a few beers, and a few beers led to some cocaine, and then it's like this cycle of like whatever.
That happens, man.
Yeah, it does. Does it?
Not to me, but
yeah. To me it did.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard stories of addiction where it's like a trigger. It's one thing, and then it just domino effect into just hard drugs.
Yeah.
Damn. So you kind of pulled yourself out of it.
Well, when I realized, I got divorced. I ran away to the yachts, and for 8 months I just worked, and I just hit rock. I was hitting rock bottom, man. I was drinking a ton, doing partying a ton as well. The yachting industry is good and bad for that, and I kind of I had the captain, Dave Pringle. He kind of just pulled me aside and gave me so many opportunities, and then he was like, "You need to go home and figure this out." So I came home, and I was still doing it, you know. I was like still living. I wasn't dealing with my emotions, and then I went away again to the yachts. Got stuck on another boat for like 6-7 months. Still doing it. That boat was it was a great boat, but it was a lot of partying. And then, fortunately for me, I got detained by immigration. I went to Val de Guadalupe for the weekend with my ex-girlfriend.
Oh, nice.
And coming back over the border, they detained me. And it was now I know it was, you know, it was a sign from God to like sort my stuff out, you know.
Yeah.
And so then I just got planted back into San Diego. I couldn't leave because obviously I wasn't going to leave because of my daughter, and I just had to make some changes. So for about 2 months, I was like, I'm going to be sober. I'm going to quit. Didn't happen. I was like on and off. And then I was getting my hair cut. My hairdresser for months, man, was telling me like, oh, come to church. I was like, I don't need church. I don't believe in this stuff, man. Like, whatever. And then I would go to her for therapy. So every 2 weeks I get my hair cut. I would go to her and I would use her like a therapist, you know.
Yeah.
And then this one Thursday night, I was like, I'm going to do this, go to church. So I went to see her on Friday and I was like, I'm going to go to church. And then she was like, okay, come on Sunday. It changed my life. Yeah.
Nice.
So I got baptized last year. And it's, I love the church that I go to. And it's, but just having him to kind of talk to when times are real tough, you know, and stuff like that, and it's helped me through a lot. So I went completely sober for 9 months off everything, and then I introduced, like, when I go eat out something nice, I'll have like a glass of wine or something like that, and or if it's a celebration or whatever, then I kind of will allow myself little bits of alcohol and whatnot. But it's
controllable.
Control now. It's which I'm really happy with. So yeah.
My future father-in-law was telling his daughter, my fiance, that a lot of guys find their faith when they're older. So it kind of makes sense that I think we deal with a lot of shit. And I'm not saying that women don't, but men, we battle against like our egos, our society, our addictions, our kind of our own brain of the way we're wired to be like, you're a protector, you're a provider, you have to do this, this, and this. So when we don't, it's debilitating. Yeah.
It's funny because I've dealt with like some of my dad issues, especially with in the church and stuff. And like, I thought going through what I did, and my dad went through something very similar, but back then, man, that generation didn't have anything. No tools, zero tools. And so you can't blame them. you know, as a man back then, when there wasn't really many opportunities, you know what I mean? There was, like, well, where I was from anyways. And so I can't blame my dad, because he just did the best he could and dealt with it in his way, you know? And so it was kind of like, I don't have to forgive him, but I mean, like, I forgive myself for putting so much hate on him, because he was just doing what he thought was right. And so it's kind of, that's it's something I've worked on for a lot. And especially my sister, she's at that age now where she's like going through the trauma and stuff like that. And it's kind of communicating that. Yeah. You know,
it's hard.
Yeah.
But so with your sister, did you tell her, like, I've felt this way as well?
Mm-hmm. Tiger Lily, sit down, please.
Does she need something? Do you need something? You're good? Okay. Are you warm? Are you warm?
A little bit.
I'm hot, dude. Hold on, let me ask you the question. I'll text someone to turn the AC on. How did getting into the yachting? It's yachting, right?
Yeah.
So like you were a chef on a yacht.
Yeah.
How does that even come about? Was that through connections or?
Yeah. So
and sorry, what age did you start that?
So I was 25. How did it come out? So I was working in restaurants in Cornwall. And I was just a bit lost, didn't really know where I wanted to go. I wanted to travel, you know? So I was like applying to these hotels in like Bali and stuff, and I was like, wasn't getting any responses because I was really young. And then I met this girl who was in the yachting industry for a long time, and she was like, you need to try this. And I was like, okay. And she basically set me up. And my grandma actually, I was earning like £1,000 a month. Back like as a sous chef, junior sous chef, whatever I was then, and
for those who don't know, what would that be in dollars?
It's like $1,200 now. Okay. Yeah, back then it was probably 2,000. So then I found my grandpa actually loaned me money to get my STCW, which is like your seafarer's certification, so you can go on the yachts.
Okay.
And I moved to Antibes, which is like the south of France, and. Just basically learned how to join the agencies, dock walked, networked, find like my first job. And I ended up landing this crazy job for a Russian client. And I remember I was in the crew house and we were with all these people, and I got this phone call from a good friend now, Chuck. He was the head chef, and he was like, hey, I got your resume, whatnot, you know, do you want to come have an interview in Turkey? And I was like, yeah. Didn't tell me anything about the job, really, just told me about the basics, because it's very high profile, very like, you can't really talk about it, sign NDAs, all that stuff. And so I'd left, I only took like a little like satchel bag, you know, because I was only going for an interview to Turkey. So it was like a 3-hour flight, whatever. Fly there, go to this like place in Go Check, a little hotel, waiting there, and I'm like nervous as heck, man. Like I'm in this random place, like get picked up at the airport at night time, drive 2 hours to Go Check. I'm like, what is going on? Like this is sketchy.
Put a bag over your head.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So I'm at this hotel, and then the captain and Chuck, they messaged me saying, we'll come to interview now. Well, the interview went really well, got the job, and then they was like, they said, we'll let you know. And I was like, okay, like what's going on? And then so they left on the tender back to the yacht. The yacht was hidden, I couldn't even see it. Oh, and basically they told me got a job and whatnot. I was really excited, I was like stoked. And then they came back, picked me up in the tender, and literally I remember this like it was yesterday. I was in this tender and I didn't know what to expect, man. Like I was just like, and then literally rocking up to this thing, and I think it was like 85 meters, so, I don't know, it was like 350 feet or something, and just rocking up to this thing, and I was like, oh my God, this
super
yacht. Like, and I'd been up close to them because in the marina, but not on one. And I just walked, and every time you do join a boat, like a yacht, you're a little bit like, when you walk on, you don't remember anything because you're so overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. But I just went on, I was like, oh my God. And it was like, at the time, this was like the ultimate yacht to be on, you know? And I looked out, and that was the start of my career, and it was an insane beginnings.
Snowballs from there.
Snowballs from there, yeah.
What does that interview process even entail?
So, doing interviews now as a head chef, it's in the yachting industry, it's all about character, because you're living with crew. So you've got like some boats have up to 70 crew, 80 crew plus, but like you when you're in a galley with a team, it's not just about the cooking, you know what I mean? Because the cooking side's the like 10%, 90% of it is like, are you going to be able to kind of, even when you're having a bad day, can you put a smile on your face? You know, can you have a joke? Can you, like, all these little bits? Can you get along with other cultures? Do you know what I mean? Can you know where's your line? Can you be what's the word, like personable, you know what I mean? So it's kind of, you navigate questions in the interview to find that out, and their attitude. You know, you can be the best chef, man. Like, you know, I've worked with some amazing chefs, and then you got like younger guys coming into the industry now who have got massive egos, which I had to. Like, I was massive ego when I got into the industry. I thought I was dog's bollocks. I was like, I can cook all this food. Then you realize actually you're cooking food for them. You're not cooking food for yourself.
Yeah.
You know, you're not doing your food, but you're putting love into everything. And once you realize that, it clicks. You know what I mean? Then everything settles down. But you just got to get through that ego. But it's everybody goes through it.
I watch Kitchen Nightmares.
Nice.
I'm sure, dude. I'm gonna ask you later too, like what
the English one or the American one?
Both. The English one's brutal,
It's
dude,
brilliant.
and it's so long.
The old ones? Yeah, man. Love that. That's my go-to.
And I feel like the censoring is so different. Like here, they'll, you know, cut down on, you know, damn it, or, you know, you can only say a certain amount. Damn it. Over there, they're saying the C word, and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
That's when I knew. I was like, oh, this is the English one.
Yeah.
But
wasn't to do with the accents. that didn't trigger you off.
Exactly. But a lot of the chefs or the business owners have this kind of inflated ego of like, well, my restaurant's the best. And I always look up like, did this restaurant make it? And they never do. They never do. And my perception is that industry, I guess the food industry, is just, there are those egos.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself either having that ego ever or battling egos with other people? You're on a yacht for how long?
Well, if you're full time, like you're on there free. Your contract is for the full amount of time. You know, 365 days a year, like a normal person.
Wow.
But as a head chef now, I've been in it for 8 or 9 years. You try and get rotation, 2 months on, 2 months off, and it's a lot easier. You get home time. Chefs work incredibly hard. All departments, I can't, you know, work incredibly hard, but chefs really get the brunt of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so as a chef, you want to get that downtime just to recoup. You know, you're constantly going, even when you're off the, you know, if you're in your cabin, you're still going. You're on what, you know, you're on call, like whatever. And so the ego thing, it dies. You have to drop it when you're in a crew environment. You can't, like, you have to obviously hold your kind of head chef status, but you can't have a restaurant ego. Like, you know what I mean? You're not winning any accolades, so there's no reason to have an ego. You know what I mean? So it's kind of, it's a strange dynamic. As a chef and my personality, I do have an ego in that sense, but I've learned to just rein it in and become a lot more humble. But when you know, if you're working for billionaires, you know, that's, you're working for them, so they should have the biggest ego, not you. You know? So you've just got to humble yourself in that aspect.
You ever cook something for someone and they just can't get it right?
Yep. I got to create a good story. A fantastic story. I was in...
Balls in your court.
Yeah, I was in the Galapagos in 2000. I was stuck there during COVID for like a couple of months. And the client just wanted tasting menus, lunch and dinner. And he you had to present him with 2 or 3 tasting menus. And I remember going up to him this one day and I just couldn't get it right. There's nothing I could do. He was in a mood anyways, like it was hard work. He would, like, at breakfast, he would pick a crew member to bully for the day. And so he would tell the nannies, like, and the nannies would text on the crew group, like, hey, keep Sandra away from the boss today because or whatnot. You know, he's going to bully you. And it was proper bullying. It wasn't like whatever. And so I went out there and I was just he was like, no. And I remember he shouting at me. He was like, I haven't been able to eat anything, blah, blah, blah. I was like, you ate dinner last night, like you had a 10-course tasting menu, whatever. Like, I didn't say that to him, but in my head, no, I'm like, yes, sir, whatever. Yeah. And I just couldn't get it right. And to a point where he got so angry that he spat on me, but like in an angry, projecting his voice way.
Yeah.
And that was it. I was like, that's the first time I ever walked out of a job, and I was like, I can't hack this. Wow. Like, I was just like, oh, that's too much for me. And I went straight to captain. And then it was like this talk and stuff. And that was my ego, because I could have stayed, but I seen red. I was away from my ex-wife for so long. She was like not even a year old. And I was just like, I was tired. There was so much going on. And it was a mixture of everything. But yeah, it happens.
What would you have done if that would happen today? What would you do?
I would have just took the abuse and then walked away from it, gone to the captain, spoke to the captain, because then he would have delegated it. He would have sorted it out and sat down with the client and figured it out. And I left incorrectly, where I wasn't going to cook for him, and he wanted me to cook, and I was just like, I'm not doing that. And I think that's something where I was in my life and my career at the time. I wasn't all there, but definitely now, you've got to take, in the industry, in the yachting industry, you have to take some shit. It's just part of it. It's not great. It's not fun. It shouldn't, but it's just, man, it's just different.
That's brutal.
Yeah. And, coming now, I work in the private houses around the US. When you're on the yachts, you think you're like, in their life, in the client's life, you think the yacht is the most important thing. But working in the houses, yachts are like 5% of their life. They're really not bothered, It's because they got all stuff going on. And so it's made me appreciate the yachting industry a lot more. Now I can't go back.
Yeah.
I'm like, God damn, get me on there.
So do they just chill on the yacht? Are you guys going somewhere, or is it like?
It depends. It depends
vacation?
on so generally, like, you do the Mediterranean Caribbean season. Mediterranean is usually like, it's longer now, but it's like April, May, and sometimes to October, sometimes November, and then you do the Atlantic crossing over to the Caribbean. And that's usually, it's quieter, the Caribbean season. Sometimes it is busy. It's like only 2 to 3 months. So you do like Antigua. Well, the Med can be Spain, France, like south of France, Greece, Italy, Sardinia, like that kind of places. And they're pushing a little bit further now. And then the Caribbean is like anywhere in the Caribbean, Antigua, Bahamas, like
that's
Bermuda.
Wild. That's wild.
But then you get yachts that travel the world. So I did on one of my kind of favorite families I've worked for. And we did like 30 countries, roughly.
Damn.
Just travel the world. New build. Went from them. I joined the boat in, they went Med Caribbean. I joined the boat in Puerto Rico, I think. Yeah, somewhere like that, or Panama or something. Can't remember exactly. And we did Costa Rica, Puerto Rico, Panama Canal, up to Mexico, which was like mind blowing for me because I've always wanted to go to Mexico. And then we hit San Diego. Then we went to Alaska, came back to San Diego, I think. Did 3 months here, where it was downtown on Fifth Ave, and that's where I met my ex-wife, and just fell in love with California, San Diego. I was like, wow, that's 2017, and I was just like, this is amazing, like the best place ever. And then we went steamed to Tahiti, went down to like Australia, New Zealand, Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, Fiji. Where else did we go? Philippines. Did all that, and then I left in Singapore, I think. Yeah,
that's wild.
After 2 years.
So this all sounds great, but you're on there working.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So what's your mental health situation there? Because you're on a boat.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
Do you know what? You have a great family dynamic with the crew. It's so hard to explain to anyone. It's like if you're in a relationship with someone on land who's not in the yachting industry, it doesn't work. Because you're with, you've got like, this is the boats I've worked on, you have like 12 stewardesses, 12 deckhands, a couple officers, captains, chief engineers, like 30 crew, and you become instant family, And it's, that dynamic is like, there's a lot of boundaries that get crossed, like, but not in any like bad way, but just because you're like family. It's like going up with your brothers and sisters, you know what I mean? You say inappropriate things, you do inappropriate things, but like not highly inappropriate, but it happens, you know? And so when you're in a relationship,
you F around a little bit.
Yeah, when you're in a relationship with someone who's not in the industry, it's hard to explain that, and it doesn't come across right. And I see that, you know, I totally understand that now, but it's that dynamic is the good side of it. You know what I mean? The bad side of it is just you're all or nothing. That's why I love it, because my personality is all or nothing. And so you're working, you can do like, what have I done? I've done like 4 or 5 months with guests on, and you just all go. And then when you have your day off, you're like, let's get wasted. Yeah. And you've got a shit ton of money in the bank. Like, you know, tens and tens of thousands of dollars, you've got tips or bonuses or whatever, and you just go and spunk it all up the wall, and you just like, you know, you're spending so much money buying yourself clothes, you're in like Monaco or whatever, and you're having like a real good time, and you know, that's when the mental health drops because you're hungover, you've partied too much, or you know, you make wrong decisions, you sleep with crew, you know, whatever, like stuff like that. And it takes its toll. And if you're not mentally, like, it's okay when you don't have any responsibilities, but when you've got responsibilities, wife, kid, it doesn't work. Yeah. Because I chose the wrong path in a lot of situations where I should have been a better father and husband. And that's, you know, that's kind of the way mentally, and that's in my head, I'm like, oh, which one am I trying to be, you know? And tough. It's when you're working on the yacht, you have to be 100% about the client. And it was hard to find that balance and navigate that kind of relationship outside of yachting. And it just takes its toll, man.
That's tough, man. Yeah,
and then, well, how do I deal with that? Alcohol and drugs. Alcohol and drugs. How did I deal with that? Was that so that's where it spirals, and you know, and it's kind of just gets worse and worse.
Damn. So your personality, you mentioned that you have an addictive personality, and it seems like it's worked well in some ways.
It does now.
Well, even with your work ethic, I have the same thing where I obsess, and it's not so much as an addiction; it's more of like an obsession of like you want to be better, you want to be almost the best. It's changed now that I've gotten older. I'm sure with you, it's, you just want to be the best that you can be. If something messes up, you take it kind of hard. The older you get, you're like, oh man, I messed up, but I can do better this way. That's kind of how you figure it out.
Analyze it differently.
Exactly. Yeah. But where has it failed you?
What going?
Your obsessive, I guess, personality.
Obsessive. I think it's failed me because I've not been able to have balance. It's not like it's either been all work or all life or all working out or all, you know what I mean? And I think I've just had to, only recently, probably like in the past 8 months, I've started putting boundaries with work just because, and that's like communicating with agents, communicating with clients, menu expectations, stuff like that, because because it's all on their time, you know, so like when they want it, but then I'm trying to like have a balanced lifestyle and be healthy and be a good human. And it's when you give up your kind of, if you give them 100%, they'll just take more. And so you've got to create that boundary. And I think throughout my life, I'm creating different boundaries. So even from just taking days of rest, not overtraining, like it's realizing that I can't do CrossFit and jiu-jitsu. I've got to pick one and just do CrossFit for fun. And, you know, that stuff, like it's figuring that out. But I think that's just getting older. You know, I think I'm, you know, I'm having a brainwave that, oh, this is what happens when you get to your 30s. Yeah.
Because you did it for so long that you're exhausted.
Yeah.
I was the same way. Obviously, I don't have as a demanding job as you, but when your job is your life, I put off asking my fiance to be my girlfriend for months because I was like, I'm starting this business and I don't know if I hit her with the whole, like, I don't know if I have time for you.
Oh, dude. Doesn't work, man. And not with Latinas, bro.
She was like, dude, about time when I finally was like, all right. And it wasn't even like, hey, you know what, I want to F around for a little bit, or I want to, it was more of like, I need to focus on this, and my clients need me 100%. And someone would call me at 9 p.m. and I'd answer, and I'd wake up and, you need the edit? I got you. Boom, 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 right away. And it takes a toll on you because you just hit a wall. Yeah. And you're like,
and then your missus is gone, and you're like, oh shit, I should have actually put some time into that. I'm not saying it will. I'm just saying that's what happens.
Well, I ended up putting time in there, so that's why it didn't. And luckily, she's amazing, and she communicates. So, when our first fight, I've talked about this before, but our first fight was her saying, I feel like you don't like me. And it was like, and I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, you don't text me during the day. You go days without texting me. I'm like, dude, I'm trying to build a business. And like my ego just inflated. But then in my head, I was like, you know what? She's kind of right. Yeah. And I think that was a big growth part for me, where I was like, you know what? You're right. And she also was like, she had like her hands up, like she was ready. But I was like, you're right. I'll work on it. And she's like, well, yeah, you better. Yeah. Like, I will. I'm sorry about that. Yeah. Like she was like waiting to like, and and we just walked in the house, and she was just kind of like confused for like another hour. But did
you do it?
It worked out. Yeah, I did it.
Okay. Yeah. You still do it now?
I still do.
You haven't texted her once since I've been here, man.
She's asleep right now. She's asleep right now because she worked last night. But I mean, it's hard. It's hard, especially we're males, man.
I actually, that's something that I was getting told throughout my marriage, was this, like the communicating like that, and my ego, it just took its toll on her. But there you go.
It's rough.
Learning lesson. Number 300.
What are some lessons that all of this has taught you? Obviously, you be a better father and have balance and all that, but what are maybe some other things that you're implementing now?
I think being okay with mistakes, like faults. It's really easy as a man to put yourself down when you're like things are going shit. It's a bad season, and embracing that. And it's like even just being what did my mum told me the other day, actually, when I called her up, anxiety over being a parent. And it's like, it's okay to like not do anything. Like I'm like, this, let's go jiu-jitsu, beach, swimming, blah, 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 this. Because I feel guilty, that's the term, a guilty parenting. And because I'm not there, we have 50-50, Gotcha. So I'm not there 100%, so I feel guilty. But it's actually okay just to sit down. And that's something I really kind of instill in my life, is like when things are going really, really bad, it's it's God telling me to take a moment. Just sit down on the sofa, watch a movie, chill out, don't go out, get off your phone, just take a moment and just let things just fester. Because I feel like when in the past, when I've kind of tried to figure it out, oh, find a solution, pay this, pay that, I've kind of like, it just got worse. The shit's just got bigger, that's rolling down the hill. And I'm just like, then I just run away from it, or have done in the past. And so now I'm like, whenever it really gets tough, I just I just take a moment. If it's a week or whatever, I'll just take a step back from everything. And that's kind of, I guess that's what I've learned from it all, which is valuable for me.
Anxiety is just misplaced energy. And again, talking about getting older, I used to just have breakdowns, and I'd be sitting there legit like crying, editing a video, and like I'm like, why do I feel this way? And I think I made a post one time. I had kind of a bad week, and I just was feeling overwhelmed, and I had all this stuff to do, and I wrote a list, and the list didn't help. The lists always help. So because you see everything on paper, and you're like, it's not that much. But this one, I was like, oh, this is a lot of stuff. And I'm kind of failing right now. And this guy's mad at me, and this person's mad at me, and all this stuff. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go on a run. Yeah. And I went on a run, came back, felt better. And then I just kind of, phone calls, emails, this, that. And that has helped. I mean, it's helped me a ton. What kind of mental therapies do you have for yourself to?
So I thought I had something similar to that. I thought it was working out. And so what I was doing was, I thought working out was going to be the therapy.
Yeah.
And so I would like put myself in the ground, man. I was like doing 3 hours of CrossFit a day, like really, really
Rhabdo.
I was taking bloody, what's that, Sermatolin, HGH.
Oh, shit,
dude. I was like,
really
I'm going to get jacked.
You really do go in,
dude.
though.
And so I was like, I went through and I was working out because I didn't have any work. So I was like going for it. And then this one day I developed anxiety. And I was dating this nurse at the time, and she was like, no, and I was having heart like palpitations, and she was like, it's just anxiety. She was giving me like IV fluids and all this stuff, right? And so yeah, basically. And I just had a panic attack, thought I was having a heart attack, and drove myself to Torrey Pines Hospital. And I was like, driving there, like, whatever. Got to the hospital, and she was like, what's wrong? At the ER or whatever. And she was like, what's wrong? And I was like, oh, I'm having a heart attack. She's not, because she wouldn't be able to drive. And I was like, okay. So got him. Then I was on all the, the stuff, whatever. And my anxiety, it was anxiety. It died down. They were like, your heart's fine. Went CAT scan or whatever, the other scans, or heart scan, whatever, chest scan. And it was just anxiety. And I just pushed myself. And so now it's not fitness anymore. I use that as an added, an extra, rather than using that as a therapy. Because I always because the addiction personality I was like, I've got to do all of this, and I've got to do like killer workouts, put myself in the ground, and then not recover and eat well. Because you can't when you train that much and you sleep like 5 hours a day, because you just can't sleep well. And then I was like, I've got to look skinny too, so then I wouldn't eat.
Man.
So it's not that, it's not that. I think, what do I do? I don't want to say go to churches that uses therapy, but it's just when I pray and stuff, it kind of releases all of the...
It's grounding.
Grounding. And I'm not a perfect Christian at all, and I still constantly working on myself with that. But it's definitely, it puts me in a kind of, my equilibrium kind of just goes in the center again.
Yeah.
And I think that's, that's reading the Bible every day, or when I can, like during the day, in the morning and stuff. And that's something that kind of I use just to kind of start the day, do that. And then, my day is always better because I've kind of just took a moment. And I think it's those, when you get older, it's just taking those moments, I think that's definitely kind of, rather than me just going,
It's also, did you ever fall into the hustle culture trap?
I've always been doing that. Working as a chef, you're constantly going. So it's never, I have watched a lot of them, the reels and all this stuff, and I get it, but just find something you're passionate at. Just stick to it. It doesn't matter what kind of variation, and don't look at anybody else, because when you're just always constantly going to have anxiety that you're not as good as them. And I've got a lot of friends, man, who are insane chefs in London on the yachts, way better than I'll ever be. And I used to live my life like, I just want to be like Mikhail or Ben or whatever, and I'm not as good as them. I don't have a restaurant, and all this stuff. But now I'm like, this is my life. I'm on my path.
I mean, there's always someone that wants to be you.
Yeah.
And I've said that before. We get so caught up in our little train tracks that we don't want to get derailed, and we're freaking out about, I got to go faster and faster and faster, and I got to be like this person, but sometimes like we're good.
Yeah.
And sometimes enough is like enough.
Yeah.
And set goals.
Yeah.
And, kind of break through that barrier, but sometimes like, I'm good, man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm chilling.
Someone the other day said they want a yacht, and I was just like, you don't. Like, that's not an achievable goal.
What's that saying? The two best days of owning a boat is when you buy it, when you sell it.
Yeah.
That's such an old white dad joke.
Yeah. But it's true, man. They're just nuts. Money burners. But people, it's also, you see that online, and it looks like a great life. Like, I just went to Arizona and worked in Lake Powell. Such an amazing job, as in like what it looked like on my Instagram. Everyone's like, dude, you were like wait serving.
It looked up.
Yeah. But I had 26 guests, And I was working 6 a.m. in the morning till like 12:30 at night. And I was like, the only time I would go, I needed to get out of my cabin. So I'd be like, the guests would be like, oh, come wake surfing. And I was like, okay. Like, you know,
Just jump dead.
Yeah. But it's like, you know, that's the thing. It's like, you know, what looks good online is not the reality of what's happening behind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's your current job right now, right?
Yeah, yes, it is, kind of. I'm waiting for 2 roles to kind of see which one tomorrow. I'll find out tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah. If you go back to Arizona and work on the houseboat, 130-foot houseboat with a heli deck. Damn. I didn't think it would, like, things you see, man, in this industry is just wild. The USA is, as a private chef, is phenomenal. Because I went to Hawaii for 6 months last year. Like, that was just mind blowing.
That's crazy.
Yeah. The middle of America, all these ranches and stuff like that there's so much money in America.
What do people do? If you can talk, I know you signed NDAs and stuff, so you don't have to get into it, but like, what are some occupations where you're like, do you get to find that out?
Yeah, you're in their house.
Okay.
Or on the boat. So let's say, because what I do now, houses, you're in their house, you become like family, you know.
Okay.
You're like family, friends. It's the job as a private chef in the house is like always just about, you can't say no. You know, I've never had a horrible client in the house at all. There's always ways to navigate around it.
Okay.
And just find solutions, you know. But you just got to be kind of clean, you know, and good with kids, man, good with animals. You're kind of like a therapist because you got to listen to people's stories and whatnot. And I love it. Like, I absolutely love it. So that's not a complaint, but it's, you just become part of their family and learn. You hear things which you should never hear, but that's like the interesting part, you know. Yeah. That's kind of like, but they do everything, man. There's like finance to making water bottles to all sorts of stuff. There's a million millionaires doing all sorts of stuff, man. And it's kind of
so many ways to make money.
Yeah, there really is. And that level, I like to work for like the 0.001%, just because of the standard that they hold in their life, and I learn a lot from them in life from just being around them, you know, and how they present themselves. I think it's really invaluable, you know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of how they talk, how they communicate with their friends or other clients that they bring into the house, and that kind of dynamic is really interesting to see, and be a part of, you know.
Yeah, my friend Voltaire has a little private group. He's a realtor, and he said something yesterday. He sent a little voice memo, and he said his mentor said, "Go where the money is, and if you're trying to make money, go hang out with people that have money. Figure out how they did it. Talk to them. Ask questions." And people, I think, are scared of rich people when in reality, a lot of them. I mean, some of them are like the client that shit on you, but a lot of them are open to just talking to you. Yeah. And half the time you don't even know they have money.
Yeah. Yeah. That's one of the biggest things that runs through that industry, that level of clients, is that they could walk down the street, you wouldn't even know. They're just normal people, you know, and that's the real beautiful thing of it too. You know what I mean? It's like 99% of kind of clients all instill into their kids, you know, good morals, good ethics, you know, how to live your life and follow a good kind of just process, so you're a better person. You know, there is obviously a lot of younger billionaire kids who aren't like that, but majority of them are.
I think there's a difference between wealthy people and rich people. And I think rich people are kind of, at least from my experience, they're the ones we see because they're super loud and the yacht and this and that. Yeah. The wealthy people, they have insane amounts of money, and you can see it, but you don't really hear about it. Yeah, yeah. And they'll invite you over, and you're like, "You renting this place?" No, I own it. I bought it a while back for this much, and you're like, "What the? Oh," I'm like, "Dude, what?" I remember going into a chiropractor's house. And this was when I was kind of first starting, so I was kind of like, I was pretty green. And I walk into their house, and I'm like, "Oh my God." And he's like, "What?" I was like, "Oh, it's a beautiful, beautiful house." And they were like doing the little functions in their like they just had little things that made sense in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Where I was like, what the and I straight up was like, you guys doing well for yourself.
Yeah. It's what's interesting is like I've got an old house and like I've spent so long being in environments where everything just makes sense. You know, like the galleys, kitchens and homes and stuff. And then I go to my house and I'm like, this is so annoying because I don't have the money to do it. You know, nothing makes sense in my kitchen. Stresses me out.
Dude, it's so funny. And then working with designers too, I've learned the same thing. Like if you have a good designer, they'll do like the triangle in the kitchen where you go here and you go to your everything's placed in a certain place.
The oven, the sink, the fridge.
Yes, the oven, the sink, and the fridge, and everything's placed in a certain position. And then I'll go to houses that are just kind of like lipstick on a pig, and I'm like, ugh.
Don't come to my house. Don't know who made that kitchen.
Dude, it's fine. I live in an apartment. It's the same thing. Same thing. You go home and you're like, who built this place?
Yeah.
Like what? This is MDF or whatever. Like, what is this crap?
Yeah.
But whatever.
I'm grateful for my house. I'm not saying that.
Yeah. It's just you start noticing those things and you're like, I'm a douchebag. What's it like being a father now that you've learned all these lessons?
So I actually got a 12-year-old in the UK.
Oh, shoot.
When I had one when I was 19. I had a kid when I was 19. And I was 19 and don't think I made the best choices. And I'm definitely making up for that now. And I'm going to have to deal with that when, Willow gets older. But just with Tiger Lily, I'm embracing it and just loving every minute of it and just being a good role model, you know. And it's the little things with her that make it worth it.
Yeah.
You know, like the random I love yous. It's like, oh, Daddy, can I tell you something? It's like, I love you. You're a good dad. And I'm like, oh, dude. Since she's got able to talk, I'm a wet blanket. Like I cry probably once or twice a week when I've got her. Like if I got her for long periods of time and I'm exhausted because I'm like, I got to do this. And at night I'm like,
That's so funny. That's what I hear, man. You get a lot more emotional. I'm already pretty emotional, so I'm just gonna
wait till you have a kid,
weeping all the time. Oh man. Football practice. Oh my god! I can't believe you're running.
But she did jiu-jitsu competition the other week, and she got beat. But it was like a in-house like grapple thing, and I was like, she was crying, and I was like trying to, because all the dads were there, and I was like trying not to cry.
That's so funny. Yeah, you post her on your stories doing jiu-jitsu, and it's so funny that she's just like kicking people's asses and like looking up at you like smiling.
Yeah, she's good at it. She hates it but loves it. So
really,
yeah, that's good.
Do you have fun doing jiu-jitsu? Yeah. What's your favorite part? Wrestling? Nice. Yeah. You hear that, boys? Stay away, dude.
Yeah. She crushes the boys. She has hard times with the girls. That's
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, that's good.
It's a good thing. I mean, dude, we've talked for an hour now.
Oh, really?
That flew by. Yeah.
Oh, God. I haven't even sweated yet.
Well, I had someone turn the AC on.
Nice. There you go.
What's next, man? What's next in your life?
Next in my life, so I think, well, I need to do a pop-up. That's the goal in San Diego.
We've been talking about this.
I know.
Yeah.
We need to also do the YouTube stuff. There's all these. This is why I needed to come on here and do this, because this year was kind of like, I need to do more things to integrate into the hospitality scene in San Diego. I've always got people reaching out to me, do this, let's do this. And then money's tight because of works like freelance. Mm-hmm. And so I can't commit to it. But this year I'm like, okay, this is the kind of, I need to put energy into that, which is like cooking here in San Diego, not in restaurants, but doing pop-ups. I'm doing with Nick, who owns Prism Jiu-Jitsu. We're going to do a jiu-jitsu retreat and get some real high-level like black belts who are like super famous and come in, do a seminar. And we're going to rent a house. We haven't figured out the houses, but like 20 people. It doesn't matter. You can be any range. You can be new to it or whatever. And then I'm going to cook the food. So we'll do like 4 nights. do jiu-jitsu, nice food, good wines. People
dope.
do like get to meet some real cool people, and that's the plan for next year. We've just been organising that now. But yeah, there's a few people that we want to get doing pop-ups and stuff. So that's the goal. It's just to kind of, but it's busy season now, so just kind of working for clients when I can.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because for the longest time I was like, man, I should restart the podcast, and then imposter syndrome or whatever, all the thing. Oh, I don't have time right now, and my job is so weird because yesterday I was supposed to have a full day of shoots, 2 canceled, and then 2 got moved to today.
Right.
So I could easily just be like, yeah, you know what, Josh, I'm so sorry, I have to go to work. But like, I think when you start saying yes to things and like committing, then you're like, okay, I got to find a way to work around it. Like you brought your daughter in, and I appreciate that. And you're like, I'm 4 minutes late. I'm like, dude, it's fine. You have a kid.
Yeah, but I've learned also to do more things for me with her.
Yes.
Because I would always be like, I can't do that because that's not good parenting.
Yes.
But now I'm like, screw that.
Yeah. And it's not that you're a bad parent. I think what I've heard is Americans move their life in this new generation of parents, move their life for the kid. Your child, and I'm not a parent, again, you could be like, shut up, Felix, that's fine.
Yeah.
But your child enters your world, so you have to kind of adapt them. And yeah, things are going to be off for maybe a year, 2 years, could be 5 years, but you got to really kind of mold them into your schedule.
That's why I bought a Jeep, because I had a Kia Sportage before.
Okay.
And I was like, it's a good family car. And then someone at CrossFit told me, she was like, because she has like a beautiful, what does she have? Some expensive car. And I was like, I would love to get one of them, but I've got the kids. She's like, dude, kids need to like be your, like when you're an adult, like kids need to be kind of like, it's not all about them. Yeah. So if you want to get something, it's okay. You know what I mean? It's okay to.
Do I know this person?
No, she didn't. It's in Valley Centre.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and it's because we were talking about cars and stuff, and I had a Kia Sportage and whatnot. So when I got detained by immigration, and then was here, I was like, I'm gonna go and buy a Jeep. I do regret it because it's expensive, but like now it's cost me so much money. But at the time, I was like, yeah, California, baby, let's go,
dude. Take that top down.
Yeah.
I drove a Jeep once and I hated it. So congrats. Because when you go past 60, you're just like, you feel everything. It's super loud. You're like, oh man.
It is.
So congrats to Jeep drivers.
I can fit into it, so it's a good thing. That's
true.
Bonus.
Yeah. Well, dude, anything else you want to say? Anything else you want to plug? Floor is yours before we head out of here.
Give me a follow on Instagram, Chef Josh King. But other than that, no, I'm glad we did this, bro. It's good.
Hell yeah. Well, appreciate you being on. Make sure you follow Josh at Chef Josh King. Follow me at Majorca Media. That's MAYORCA. Media is MEDIA. If you need any photo, video, content for anything, let me know.
Still doing your OnlyFans, or you're not doing that anymore?
Not anymore, dude. It started hurting. But just kidding. My ego.
Your wife's not gonna like that one. Fiance. Sorry.
There's a child in here.
Oh god. See, boundaries.
Josh, thanks for being on, man.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate it.
All right. See you all in the next one.
Thanks, bro.
I didn't know how to bounce out of that one.
Yeah.
It started hurting.
God, I could have done that for ages, bro. That was awesome, man.